Archaeologists know the moment a sealed tomb opens. The air changes first, dust moves, light enters a room that has not seen it for thousands of years. They expect bones, gold, perhaps a name, but in a handful of tombs, what waited inside was not dry, not silent, and not supposed to survive. And the strangest chamber of all has still never been opened. Ancient tombs were designed to defeat disappearance. They protected bodies from decay, possessions from thieves, and memory from time. But sometimes they preserve something their builders could never have imagined. Evidence precise enough for modern chemistry, medical imaging, and archaeology to reconstruct a final meal, a final ritual, or perhaps even a final expression. Tonight, Lost Signal enters 5 burial chambers where the past did not stay buried. Case 1, Carmona, Spain, the wine that outlived an empire. In 2019, during renovation work in Carmona, southern Spain, a family uncovered a sealed Roman mausoleum dating to the 1st century CE. Inside were the remains of 6 people. One glass funerary urn held the cremated bones of a man, a gold ring, and a reddish-brown liquid. The obvious explanation was groundwater, but the chamber had remained intact and well sealed. There was no convincing path for a flood or leak, so researchers tested the liquid. In 2024, chemical analysis identified 7 wine-related polyphenols. Its mineral profile matched wines from southern Spain, and the absence of a compound commonly associated with red wine suggested something even stranger. The liquid had originally been white wine. 2,000 years had changed its color, but had not erased its chemical identity. It is now considered the oldest wine ever discovered in liquid form. This was not a forgotten drink placed beside the dead. The man's bones were immersed in it. The find records a specific Roman funerary act in measurable chemistry. 2,000 years later, the ritual is still chemically legible. Case 2, Luxor, Egypt, the Screaming Woman. In 1935, beneath Theban Tomb 71 at Deir el-Bahari near Luxor, Egypt, excavators found an anonymous woman inside a wooden coffin. Her mouth was open so widely that she became known as the Screaming Woman. For decades, one explanation seemed simple. Careless embalmers had failed to close her mouth, but modern scans complicated that story. A 2024 study used CT imaging and material analysis to examine the mummy without unwrapping her. Her internal organs and brain were still present, yet her body had been treated with expensive imported juniper resin and frankincense. This was not necessarily a cheap or careless burial. The scans found no obvious cause of death. Researchers suggested that the open mouth may have been fixed by cadaveric spasm, a rare stiffening sometimes associated with violent pain or intense emotion at the moment of death. But that remains a possibility, not a certainty. No scan can reconstruct her final seconds. It can only overturn the easy answer. This woman received a costly burial, yet her face remained locked in an expression science still cannot explain. Case 3, Pylos, Greece, the Combat Agate. In 2015, near Pylos in southwestern Greece, archaeologists uncovered the grave of a Bronze Age leader now called the Griffin Warrior. The tomb contained armor, weapons, jewelry, and thousands of objects. But one of its greatest discoveries initially looked like an ordinary lump of stone. After conservation removed layers of limestone, a sealed stone barely 1 inch long revealed a complete battle scene. A warrior drives a sword into an opponent. Another body lies beneath them. Muscles twist, weapons overlap. individual details are so small that some are difficult to appreciate without magnification. The object is known as the Pylos Combat Agate. It was carved roughly 35 centuries ago. Its precision forced scholars to reconsider what Aegean artists could achieve at miniature scale. More disturbingly, the weapon shown in the scene closely resembles a sword hilt buried beside the griffin warrior. Was the seal an ancient myth, a symbol of status, or an idealized version of the man in the grave? Its meaning remains unknown. Its craftsmanship does not. The seal stone compresses anatomy, motion, and violence into a surface barely larger than a thumbnail, forcing scholars to rethink Bronze Age miniature art. Case 4. Lady Dai. In 1972, archaeologists excavating Tomb 1 at Mawangdui in Changsha, Hunan Province, China, found the body of Xinjui, known as Lady Dai. She had died more than 2,000 years earlier, yet her preservation was unlike the dry, fragile mummies found elsewhere. Her skin remained soft and elastic. Her body was intact enough for doctors to perform an autopsy. They could study her diseases and identify melon from her final meal. Around her, the tomb had been engineered like a sealed world. 4 nested coffins, deep burial, layers of charcoal and white kaolin clay, and an environment that kept out much of the oxygen and moisture that feed decay. Lady Dai was not preserved by one magical substance. Her survival depended on a carefully controlled burial environment. Nested coffins, lacquer, charcoal, clay, depth, and sealing worked together to slow the chemistry of decay. The people who built it believed the dead still required food, clothing, protection, and a path into another world. They did not achieve immortality. They achieved something archaeology can measure. After more than 2 millennia, her body still revealed disease, diet, and the conditions surrounding her death. Case 5. Ix'an, China, the Sealed Emperor. In March 1974, farmers digging a well in Lintong district outside Xi'an, China, uncovered fragments of a terracotta army built for Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of a unified China. But the soldiers are not the tomb. They are guards positioned beyond a far more dangerous mystery. The emperor's central burial chamber remains sealed beneath a massive mound. An ancient account by the historian Sima Qian described a miniature empire underground, palaces, celestial patterns above, landscapes below, and rivers and seas made from flowing mercury. For centuries, that sounded like imperial legend. Then a geochemical survey found a strong, clearly defined mercury anomaly over the central part of the mound. Later research continued to investigate mercury emissions from the site. That does not prove every detail of the ancient story, but it proves the story cannot be dismissed easily. Archaeologists have not opened the chamber, largely because excavation could destroy what exposure reveals. The first painted terracotta figures lost much of their color after contact with air. A central palace filled with fragile materials could suffer the same fate on an unimaginable scale. For now, the central chamber remains intact. Its real mystery is no longer whether something extraordinary lies below. It is whether opening the tomb would reveal the emperor's hidden world or erase it before science could understand it. Ancient tombs were never built as museums. They were systems designed to move identity, status, and power beyond death. In Spain, chemistry recovered a funeral ritual. In Egypt, imaging challenged a century-old assumption. In Greece, a stone smaller than a thumb rewrote expectations of Bronze Age art. At Mawangdui, a sealed environment turned a body into a medical archive. And beneath Xi'an, the largest archive in this story remains closed. Not because we cannot reach it, because the first moment of discovery may also be the moment it begins to disappear. This is Lost Signal,